Before we start the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Veronika Kozlova, 22 years old, was admitted with seizures of unknown origin. Read the medical records of the girl intern Lilia. On her way back to us, she had another epileptic seizure. The ambulance doctors administered the drug intramuscularly. Now her condition is stable. Doctor, will I be discharged soon? I have to work tonight? Asked the patient, a bright girl with silicone lips and false eyelashes. I'm a pylon dancer. It was a private hospital with good renovations and the latest equipment. It was daytime and the sun was shining brightly on the ward. The neurosurgeon, Ilya Stepanovich Voloshin, came to the window and half-covered the blinds, then took the medical records from the hands of the intern girl. Do a general blood test, tomography, and biochemistry, he ordered. Good, nodded Lilia. So, doctor, when will I be released? Patient did not persist. In the daylight she seemed particularly artificial. Your condition is extremely serious, and if we do not find the cause, you may not wake up tomorrow, he explained. But it's just cramps, the dancer argued. Even when I fell off the pylon the other day, I continued to dance, although my hand was a little bit painful. Ilya Stepanovich and the patient did not argue and silently left the room. Patients were waiting for him. Every minute is precious. 2 hours later, Kozlova's tests were ready. Everything is clear, no abnormalities revealed. Voloshin commented on the results. Then what can it be? The girl intern interrogated. Ilya Stepanovich thought. She said that she fell from the pylon. But the tomography scan did not show anything and there were no factors for concern. One case in 1,000, Voloshin continued pondering, but it could be. Let's do this, he turned to Lila. Take her for a blood vessel examination. This Kozlova is so nasty, demanding, and always dissatisfied, constantly listening to her reproaches, complained the intern, but Voloshin only smiled. I know, but we have to save her. If I had not taken the Hippocratic oath, I do not even know what I would have done with it, added Lilia. Go to work and watch your tongue. Voloshin did not support the pointless argument. 15 minutes later they were in the office. Studying the video of the examination results, the man noted, Here it is small, but there is still a hemorrhage, and the neurosurgeon added, Prepare the operating room immediately. Late in the evening, tired but satisfied with the day, Voloshin was going home. He looked in the mirror and winked to himself. He had nothing to complain about. A big new house, favorite job, expensive car, and a beautiful wife. He works in a private clinic, where he moved after internship and a few years of excruciatingly hard work in the city hospital. Still remembers the words of the head of the department, intern's lower link in the surgical chain. But even with not the best equipment and nightmarish schedule of the city hospital, Voloshin showed good results, and even then it was widely said that he had God-given talent and golden hands. And not even surprisingly, pretty soon he was offered a job at a private hospital with a very high salary, and he, of course, took it. Now, sitting in the kitchen of his own home in an upscale neighborhood, sipping coffee, he was proud of himself, but he still remembered the days when he was a starving student from a poor family. There is even a saying, through thorns to the stars, or through effort to victory. That's just about him. His mother, Nina Vasilievna, worked as a nurse. She did not become pregnant until she was 33, and for her this news was a real blessing. However, she died during childbirth from heavy bleeding, and no matter how hard the doctors fought for her, they could not help her. So when Ilya's father, the plumber Stepan Zakharovich Voloshin, elated with pink and red tulips, came to the maternity hospital, he was told that his wife did not survive, and the child? Stepan Zakharovich asked in a hoarse voice, not fully comprehending the news. It's a boy, weight 3,600, height 52 centimeters, healthy, said the midwife, and then very cautiously added, Can you bring him up alone? I can, decided Stepan Voloshin. He has to be under medical supervision for a few more days. And Nina, can I take her away, bury her? Yes. Stepan the plumber buried his beloved Ninachkat in the nearest cemetery. When he returned to his small dorm room, he drank heavily for a few days, and no one knows how it would have ended if his neighbor Varvara Nikolaevna had not broken in and told him the truth. Look at you, a healthy 40-year-old man, and you are soaking like a rag. You have a son and the child has no one but you. Pull yourself together and go get him. I'll clean up while I'm here. Besides, the women have packed small things for the baby in the dormitory, so you're not alone. Everyone will help. After all, Nana has always helped us all. With great difficulty, Stepan found the strength to return to normal life. He named his long-awaited son Ilya, and from that day on he devoted himself entirely to his upbringing. At first he placed the baby in a nursery, then there was a kindergarten. They would feed him, take him for walks, and teach him his first letters. The same Varvara Nikolaevna looked after Ilya if there was an urgent call to work. Stepan worked as a plumber in the Housing and Utilities Department, and any abnormal situation in the area demanded his attention. After work he did not stay with friends as before, but quickly ran home to his beloved son, and if he was still awake, be sure to read him books that he brought from the district library. Most of all, Ilya loved the story in which the big hare puts to sleep a little hare, my son, and the last line is always repeated along with his father, and whispered in his ear, and I love you to the moon. All the way to the moon and back. Things got complicated when Ilya went to school. His classmates mocked him because of his shabby clothes, his old pencils and pens, his fancy new toys, and what about toys? He didn't always have money for a bun or a cake from the cafeteria. The children called him names, and he could hardly hold back his tears, finding a quiet corner to cry. At the same time, he developed another habit. He could never pass by a wounded cat or a sick bird. All the animals he pulled home and tried to get out. In the dormitory, he was even called Ebolit. Ilya quickly noticed that he got four-legged animals out more often than birds. Birds often got sick and died. This led him to read more books on zoology, and eventually anatomy. He read a lot, and the librarians knew this smart, good-looking boy well. And when Bernard Gardner's Basic Surgery suddenly appeared in the library, without a second thought they let him read it at home, although rare books were only kept in the reading room. Ilya remembers reading the textbook and getting his first stitches on a banana peel. When the time came to enroll in medical school, Ilya Voloshin had excellent knowledge in biology, chemistry, anatomy, and had no problem getting on a budget. However, although he did not pay for the education itself, he constantly needed money for textbooks, food, accommodation, and his father, Stepan Zakharovich, had to take out loans. Ilya always remembered that without his father's sacrifice, he would not have been able to become a good specialist. For a long time, his father was everything to him. And when he became a successful doctor, he bought a big house, settled down with his father, seriously engaged in his health. Stepan Zakharovich had painful legs, and a year ago at a charity event of the organization Women's Health, Ilya met an amazing woman. Long-haired, long-legged, bright beauty captivated him at first sight, and summoning up his courage, he went up to her. I think you're out of champagne. Ilya handed the stranger a full glass. How thoughtful, she smiled. My name is Anna Green, and you? Ilya Voloshin. I think I know your name. You're a surgeon, aren't you? Neurosurgeon. Anna was a real socialite. Everything about her was brought to perfection. An easy dancing gait, hairstyling, and manicure. She spoke English, in society smiled when it was necessary to smile, and was silent when it was worth keeping silent. Like any socialite nowadays, Anna had promoted pages on social networks, where of course, there were no watermelons in the countryside style photos. Anna's photos were taken by professional photographers and not other than in the Maldives with the azure waters or in the Norwegian Hemsedal, if she posed on the mountain skis. But most of all, Ilya was struck by the fact that while she lives a bright, busy life, Anna does not forget about the suffering, attending charity events and donating money to charitable projects. Dad, Anna is not only beautiful, but also kind, told his father enthusiastically Ilya. But he only shrugged his shoulders. Life was cruel to Stepan Zakharovich and taught him not to expect miracles. He had to pay a high price for everything, so he only casually remarked, Surely, Anna does not go to such events to meet successful men. Dad, what are you saying? Anna is not like that at all, defended the girl Ilya. Soon you will see her. One of these days I will introduce you. But the father did not like his son's bride. However, Stepan Zakharovich did not like the girl either. Only when she saw the old man did she realize that she would make every effort to get rid of him immediately after the wedding. When the girl left, the father told his son bluntly, Don't marry her. She will be nothing but trouble. But Ilya wouldn't listen to him. He was dizzy with love. He didn't know why his heart beat so fast at the sight of his beloved. Why he was at a loss for words when he touched her, and for the sake of her smile was ready to perform any feat. All the time he sought her company, every gesture he found her perfect, and in the end did not want to part. "Will you be my wife?" one day he asked. "Yes. 1,000 times yes," answered Anna. A month later they were married. The bride moved into her fiancé's house, and naturally it brought many changes to the men's world. However, whatever Anna did, her newly married husband was only happy about it. He thought it was right that his wife was in charge of the house, and since so many concerns have fallen on her shoulders, it was up to her to decide what to do and how to do it. At this time, Ilya was working very hard, so he did not know that things were not smooth between his father and his bride. But if Anna acted cunningly, using feminine tricks, only hinting between words that it would be good for them to live only together, then they could arrange romantic evenings by candlelight, full of love and night pleasures. Stepan Zakharovich acted openly, constantly grumbling and giving the impression that he was muddying the waters. In the end, the old man, in the heat of the moment, said that it would be better if he lived separately, since he was not nice, and she picked up on it. "Are you so uncomfortable living with us? But I am trying so hard for you." Her voice sounded sad. Her hypocrisy infuriated the old man even more. "Uncomfortable? I do not dare to sit where I want in this house, not to mention where to put what thing, all in your way. I am trying for you to keep the house in order." Anna was quite offended. To end this argument, Ilya said, "Anushka, I do not have much time. Look for a place for my father, okay?" He stroked his wife on the arm. "Okay," she agreed meekly, though her heart at that moment rejoiced. Anna did find a house for the old man. "This house is in a quiet, pleasant place," she told her husband. "Just what you need for a man in his old age. You are so caring." The man continued to admire his wife. Soon the old man moved into a new house. It was indeed in a quiet neighborhood, and how could it be otherwise, because it was the very outskirts of the city. While moving his father, Ilya bought groceries and medicine for his father, but still told Anna that the house was a bit far away from them and from his hospital. "Don't worry, dear, I'll be sure to visit your father every week and bring him food and medicine." "Okay, I'll give you my bank card. Take care of your father." "Of course, your father is my father." "What a pity that he did not like you from the first day and does not understand how good you are," Ilya regretted. "Never mind, the main thing is that you love me," she said in a lusciously sweet voice. At first, Anna visited the old man, bringing food, medicine, and money. He complained that Ilya did not come, and she in response blamed him that he did not understand how much his son worked and tried for him. Then the daughter-in-law began to visit the old man less and less often, but she began to take money from her husband for travel and beauty salons more often. Ilya understood that he had taken an expensive woman as his wife, and that her needs required a lot of money, so he took on more and more operations, almost never coming home. Trusting Anna in everything, he could not imagine that she was away from his father for weeks, that the groceries had long since run out, and the small pension had all gone on medicines. The old man had been starving. All his life he had sacrificed himself for his son, and was ready to continue sacrificing himself so that his son would be happy. So he never called or complained about his unhappy life. But one day the old man was standing at the bread stand, unable to count the change for a loaf. The man in line behind him took pity on the old man and paid for it, and the saleswoman remarked, "What kind of kids are growing up now, that their parents are wandering around the world with their hands outstretched?" Just at that time, Ilya passed by in the car. In the morning the surgery was cancelled, and seeing that he had a couple of hours, the man decided to break out to his father. Witnessing the awful scene, Voloshin was surprised. "Daddy, how could it be? I give my entire salary to Anna, just so she would take care of you." The old man cried. He had felt so unwanted, abandoned and hungry for so long that he almost didn't have the strength to tell him what and how. Still, he told Ilya the truth about his wife. When he brought his father to his house, Ilya saw with his own eyes how badly Stepan Zakharovich lived. Anna kept telling her husband that she bought his father a lot of things, and not only food and medicine, but also technology. Washing machine, TV, microwave. "Where is all this stuff? I don't understand where the money I earn then goes. I have very little money left on my card. Ilya ordered a cooked meal to be delivered to his father from the restaurant, so that the old man could eat, and then he went to the supermarket for groceries and medicines. When he was already paying at the cash register in the store, his eyes fell on a large screen with commercials. At that time, a commercial of the detective agency Truth Lab was being shown. After taking groceries to his father, giving him an injection and giving him the right medicine, put the old man to bed, and himself went to the agency. Ilya understood that he must learn the truth about the woman whom he had brought into his house, whom he believed more than himself, to whom he gave his heart without reserve. The detective called him a week later. I found something. Sergei, a massive guy in a black suit, began his report when Ilya Voloshin arrived at his house after work. Anna Alexandrovna Green, also known as Lolita Burke, Annabella Weiss. Her real name was Marina Vasilieva. Thief and fraudster with a track record. At 15, was sent to juvenile detention for stealing phones from classmates. At 17, she began dating men, extorting large sums from them. Married several times under different names, cleaned out the poor and disappeared. According to my information, you're her fourth husband, and it's unlikely you'll ever be able to tell which man was the victim. So I'm just another victim and nothing more, Voloshin whispered in a daze. He felt such a savage pain in his heart that no amount of intelligence or willpower could extinguish it. Heartbreak, what a hackneyed phrase, but now Ilya realized that his heart must have been broken, since he as an ass had fallen so blindly in love. He had been taught, always in laughter or tears, in pain or joy, to hold his own. But now the famous doctor couldn't do it. The detective waited until the client came to his senses. With these documents you can send her to prison for a very long time. He began to explain. Well, of course, through the court you can easily get an annulment of the marriage. Our agency will provide you with a lawyer so you don't have to go through this yourself. I can't send her to prison. I love her too much. Frankly, the detective was expecting to hear something like this. He had a great deal of experience and had made sure for the 1000th time. Logic can never beat love, just as history cannot beat myth, and reality is poor compared to the dream. Soon Anna disappeared from Ilya Voloshin's life. He moved his father back to his home. The old man was both happy and sad. He regretted that his son's first love was so deceitful. At the same time, his worldly wisdom showed that there would always be difficulties. They tire a man's way through life, and it is good that they are there, otherwise there would be no growth. It is difficulties that challenge, it is they that make you think and work. The plumber, who buried his wife and raised his son alone, knew this for sure. As for Ilya, he continued to work in a private hospital and save lives, especially since with an intern like Lilia, he had to do it with the utmost care. First of all, we need to relieve her pain, he explained. Maybe this dancer is just a hypochondriac or on medication, the intern argued as usual. She came to us, she must be in pain. I hate Veronika Kozlova, it's the 3rd time she's been here in 6 months. This is not a hotel. These altercations happen day after day, but since some time Ilya Voloshin began to appreciate them. Because he knew that in the directness and harshness of Lily, much more unspoiled and honest than in the sweet speeches of other women. And as for Kozlova, she had hinted that she wanted to ask the neurosurgeon out on a date, but now he'd avoided bright, too conspicuous women. After all, it is not without reason that in nature the brightest creatures are the most poisonous. He had read that in his high school biology textbook, and now he realized it from his own experience.